Tilly, me. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Planning Board meeting of July 10th, 2013. Tonight, we have Tilly Evangelista, Bob Watts, myself, I'm Harry Locatilia. We have Howard Snyder, Wendy Beaumont. The time is 7:12, and we will call the meeting to order.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Watts, as I look and address you,
Bienvenido.
and I notice that Mr. Christopher Rich has entered the room.
Elvis has entered the building.
Christopher Rich just left the room.
Get out. I would like to move that pending discussion, we approve the minutes of June 26th.
Oh, motion by Bob to approve the minutes
A second.
of June 26th, 2013. Seconded by Tilly. Discussion, please. Bob, you were the mover.
And now I'm the shaker. I got no,
Well, start shaking, baby.
I have no comment.
I actually can say that I had absolutely no comments.
Me too.
No
Great.
corrections, no typos.
That's the way we would like them.
You can put that in the minutes.
Put
I
that,
wanted to make sure I
you could
wasn't
put
on the team.
that feather in your hat there. One to Tilly,
Oh, thank you.
one to me. Thank you, sir. Without any further ado, Chris, do you have any corrections to make to the minutes of June 26th?
Nothing that I saw online.
They haven't changed. Motion by Bob to approve the minutes of June 26, 2013, seconded by Tilly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 4-0, unanimous. Okay, great. Taking care of the minutes. And we have some vouchers. The BSC group for Cedar Lane. Excuse me, the BSC group for Abbey Road. Bingo, I finally saw one. Abbey Road spelt with an E.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
EBBY?
No, ABBEY, yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Just for clarification, the two vouchers that we received, both from BSC Group, both for site inspection and review services on the street acceptances. One can be billed to an M account, and the other does not have an M account anymore, so that can be billed to the planning office.
Second one, Cedar Lane, that was closed out years and years ago, or
The what?
are we looking at, which one are you talking about?
Abbey Road, the M account for
Abbey
Abbey
Road.
Road was closed.
We didn't
a while
have,
ago.
the monies got returned before,
The road acceptance.
before the road
received.
acceptance.
How much do we return?
I don't remember.
Well, we didn't return it. This board didn't return it. You know, it's also very possible, I guess we can check the records, and maybe they just got paid out and got down to zero, and everybody sort of forgot, huh? Mhm. Is there a, can I hear a motion to make it official?
Well, I would say, Mr. Chairman, beside you,
Oh, yes, Mr. Rich.
I would move that we pay the vouchers in the amount of $1,408.
Motion's been made to pay the vouchers totaling $1,408. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tilly. And we should discuss now, I guess. Let's discuss it.
So that comes out of our budget?
The one
Does
for
it come out of the
for Abbey.
selectmen's budget? Because it's a, at least let me say it before you shake your head. I mean, why does the planning office have to pay for a road to become
Playing devil's
town road.
advocate because the planning board failed to keep the M account up to $2,000 or $4,000, whatever it was at the time.
not this board?
Well, not
When was
current
that?
board, but yes, this board, the planning board. Not the
Not
current
this
members that are seated
sitting
upon
board.
this board, but the planning board. And
You
we
the chair
own
then?
all our old mistakes. I don't even think I was on it. Abbey Road, I was on Concom back then. Yeah, actually. It was a while ago. How long ago was Abbey Road approved?
8 years, 9 years?
Is there a nights meeting tonight? Yeah.
At any rate, Larry, BSC, Dave Varga did the inspection so that it could be,
Do you have?
accepted by the town, and it was accepted by the town at the last town meeting. I would say that $512 will be coming back to us in chapter 90 monies for the for every year now.
Oh, you mean for the town,
For
but
the
not
town.
to our budget?
Not specifically to our budget, no.
How come
There-
the invoice has Georgetown Conservation Commission on it?
Well, maybe we should get them to pay it.
Why is that printed out like that? See it?
Where are you?
I'm on this description.
Client, Georgetown Conservation Commission.
Do we have the right account?
New job, Abbey Road, street exceptions, Wednesday, April 24th, 2013. Inspect street with Howard Snyder and Peter Durkee. Dave Varga, Abbey Road, set up
No,
base
that's-
camp,
yeah, that's
download and
just a
email to Howard
default.
Snyder.
Can we send it to them
Review.
anyways and see if they pay it?
Alright, we can do that.
They might. Or we could just pay it tonight. What's the other one, Howard? The other one was
Cedar Lane,
Cedar Lane,
Cedar Lane still has plenty of money left in its own account.
and is adequate funds in the M account for that?
Oh, I see. Wait a minute. BSC made a mistake then, because they addressed it to the Conservation Commission, right?
Right. They must have used the last time a correspondence was sent or something regarding the project.
Must have had Conservation Commission on their mind when they sent the bills
Yeah.
out.
I see. Yeah.
I like that.
They are
David
sequenced,
Varga- David
23071.
Varga set up Base camp and downloaded an email to Howard Snyder. That's all.
Well, is
Well,
there, is
They
there,
just did the school BSC, so I hope this doesn't get mixed up.
No, I hope so too.
You know, we've got enough money going out on that school project.
looks pretty clear.
And they did a good job, I wanna note.
I'm sure they do, that's why we
BSC,
use them.
Environmental, you know, really excellent. It wasn't Dave Varga, it was another
Didn't they miss the wetlands?
environmental, BSC found them.
Well,
BSC
but-
did it extremely well. They had like 40 things and it was.
Bringing
was
it back
really
to the
critical.
vouchers. All in favor of paying the vouchers in the total of $1,408, say aye.
I,
Aye, motion carries. 4-0, unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Balto.
It is a warm summer night,
That was more like Tommy McGee.
as long as it wasn't Whitey. We have
Yeah,
a
he
public
got
hearing.
shots.
We have a public hearing. Everything all right there, Howard?
Yeah, I
We
lost my
losing power?
signal to the screen.
Uh-oh.
So,
Uh-oh. What'd you do, Bob?
I did nothing, no, no such.
No
thing.
sauce.
get to the
Uh-oh.
screen.
Is it on?
It was just on and
Yeah,
now
we had
it's
it a minute
dropped
ago.
off. Yeah.
Well, we'll forge on. There's a public hearing tonight, being after 7 o'clock. Public hearing is for site plan approval, 124 Tenny Street, map 16, lot 44. Would the proponents please join us up here? State your name for the record, and what we'll do is, Howard, you can read the public, the notice.
In accordance with provisions of section 165-83 of the Code of the Town of Georgetown, the Georgetown Planning Board will hold a public hearing on July 10th at 7 p.m. in the third floor meeting room at Georgetown Memorial Town Hall, 1 Library Street, to consider Tom Ford's application for site plan approval regarding a proposed development consisting of a 3,000 square foot office building and a 4,600 square foot warehouse repair facility, along with associated site improvements at 124 Tenny Street in Georgetown, Mass. The property is located in the Light Industrial IB Zone District and as described on Assessor's Map 16, Lot 44, and as Registry of Deeds Book 29384 and page 89. Copy of the application plan on file at Georgetown Planning Office, inspected through Monday through Thursday, 9 to 4. Any person interested or wishing to be heard regarding the application can appear in person, agent, or attorney at the time and place designated.
Thank you,
And
Howard.
just for the board's awareness and for the record, the public hearing notice administratively was incorrect. It went out as a site plan approval, and it should be for a special permit, given the fact that the applicant is requesting 2 buildings on 1 lot.
Okay, let's, just for the record, would you please introduce yourselves and state your names and for the record, so Wendy can get it?
Sure, I'm Tom Ford, and I'm the owner of 124 Tenny.
Thank you. Rick Salvo, project engineer with Engineering Alliance,
Spell your last name?
SALVO.
Thank you, gentlemen. Just going to touch base on that, administrative error for the public notice. What we've just opened is a public hearing for a site plan approval. Howard made me aware of the, administrative error. My apologies, our apologies. It seems as though you do need a site plan approval as well as a special permit. In the interests of not contaminating your approval, I think the best thing that you can do, and it's up to you, but I think the best thing that this board can do right now is to have Howard send out the corrected notice to all the abutters and et cetera, the same notice that had to go out, advertise it in the newspaper. And this board should, in my opinion, continue this hearing without taking any information to a time when we know we can open the special permit hearing in conjunction with the site plan. We'll bifurcate them. On that night, we will have taken no information. You're shaking your head no. And I think that would be the best way to prevent any potential appeals after the fact. I'm gonna throw it out to the board, and after we hear what the board would like, we can certainly hear if you wanna roll the dice or not.
Just for the record, I've coordinated with the zoning code enforcement officer, and he cited 16581, and usually the special permit granting authority for 2 buildings on 1 lot is the zoning board. And there's a section in there that discusses if the use is primarily to be considered by the planning board can consider the special permit for 2 structures on 1 lot.
Remember, a couple of years back, the law was changed, it was very ambiguous. No one was really certain, there was just a vague reference that the town, the planning board, needed to consent to 2 buildings on a lot, in conjunction with the Board of Appeals granting it. So it
So
was
is it now
it was
our,
a double trap.
is it now our sole?
No, it is not.
May I see the statute?
Yeah.
It is not. The way that it's written, it falls to the planning board when the use is a planning board use, and it falls to the Board of Appeals when it would normally come under the Board of Appeals. And just for the record, we are citing, chapter 165 of the zoning code, chapter 165-81, just for the record. 165-81. Please understand that I'm one member of this board. I'm hoping that everyone agrees. I don't know if they will, if they have their own opinion on this. If this board were to grant your permit at some point, the site plan approval, and what would happen is it would automatically be open for appeal, because people may have received this notice, they may have read the notice in the paper, but as far as they were concerned, they heard about a site plan approval. They didn't hear about a special permit. And I think this is to your benefit.
Don't they have to have both, right?
My understanding is that the building, the zoning compliance officer, the building inspector, has determined that, in addition to, a site plan approval, we also, are the special permit granting authority for, why does it keep blinking on and off? Why does that keep happening?
Goes to the
Because it
machine.
disagrees with you.
We're the special permit granting authority under chapter 16581. That's his determination.
Oh, I don't disagree with him.
Okay, you just disagree with me.
I do disagree.
I understand, and how do you think the,
I
we should?
respectfully disagree.
I understand, how, respectfully, how would we, what's?
Well, I think you've got two separate hearings. You can bifurcate them and hear the facts at the same time. But you noticed a special hearing, and it's up to them. They're only gonna have to go through the same thing again. So it's up to you, gentlemen. We made the mistake, as far as I'm concerned. If you wanna start on your special permit, in this member's.
Site plan review permit.
Site plan
Not special
approval,
permit,
site plan approval.
Site plan.
Right, okay.
Site plan approval, say that 10 times fast. The site plan approval, you can, but you're gonna have to go through the same information
For the special permit.
for the special permit.
My only concern is that anyone disgruntled after the fact, after the permits are,
Why? They've been noticed for the site plan approval.
but they haven't been noticed for
We're
a
not gonna
special
hear
permit.
it. We're not gonna hear the special permit. I just said, he's gotta go through all the same information. at the
Over again,
special
de novo,
permit.
almost. Right,
Yeah.
which is why I just think the cleanest way to do
What
this is to
I'm
continue.
disagreeing with you in as much as you're saying we have to.
Oh, no, there's 100 ways to do this, I think, or at least several, but,
Well, maybe
I
I'm
think the
misinterpreting what you're
cleanest
saying.
way for
The
all
most
concerned-
expeditious way, I think, if we can stop killing this horse.
Yeah. Oh,
You know, the decision is yours, Mr. Ford.
Well, could I ask a question through the chair, I guess? My expectation is that, that this will have to be re-advertised, so as a minimum, it's a month out.
why is that?
Between the time it gets to the paper and the 2 Thursdays, I guess it is. or
Right,
something.
right, to adequate notice for a week and 2 weeks out. With, it's gonna have to skip the next planning board meeting.
Right.
So we would be looking at the second meeting in August?
Right, which is gonna be the first meeting in August. Cause I can send it out tomorrow and
Okay.
still meet the timeline. You can't,
Okay, so
you
that would
can't
be
do
the
the
first meeting in
24th.
August.
It'll be the first meeting, which is the 7th or 8th of August.
14th?
The 14th, I'm sorry.
And frankly, I'd like you to have time to deliberate it and peer review and what all you need to do. I'm content with starting it tonight and taking my chances. I don't believe I have a contentious project. If I do, I have expressed my concerns to Howard, and I will pull it back off the table and it won't get built.
Let me ask this, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Where we have at least opened the site plan, we can send it out.
I was hoping that one of
to
the things that
Graham.
we would do tonight,
You know, if you're worried
Is
about
that
that, I'll
someone
make the
could-
motion that we send it out to Graham to get his, Larry Graham to get his comments.
I presume your motion is to request an M account be established.
No, first
Mm-hmm.
and foremost.
Motion by Chris to establish an M account. Is there a second? Seconded by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All abstaining?
And more discussion, please?
Sure, we'll hold that vote. We're talking about, let's limit it to establishing an M account, which they're gonna have to do one way or the other at some
No,
point.
Right, right. that's-
Yeah.
I've never seen a Democrat say no to money, but I want to listen to this carefully.
You're in rare form today, aren't you?
Yeah.
Really are.
I was in the sun and
You
heat
should,
all
you
day.
must have mowed your lawn all day long
How
without a
come
hat.
you got tea and we got water?
It looks like tea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What, you concerned about establishing an M account, so?
No, I'm really, what it has to be understood is that there are, 4 people here, and a special permit, it would have to be a supermajority
We're not
vote.
talking about a special permit right now. We cannot talk about a special
I
permit,
know
and every
you
time
are,
we
but-
do, we're adding to the record that
Good thing that we-
somebody might say,
I am saying that because there's one person missing. If you have another hearing, and we're going to have another one, if there is that person missing again, we're only allowed to do this, signing off and reviewing whatever transpired.
oh, wow. Well,
Mr.
another
Once,
good
isn't
reason
it?
not to take any information
Mr.
tonight.
Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Rich.
may I assist my colleague that we only opened up a public hearing for site plan approval.
Which is a majority.
We have not opened a hearing. I don't, and I'm saying this because I don't want you to get caught in
A special permit.
in a Mullins issue. There's no Mullins issue here. Site plan approval only
Right,
is what we're doing.
yeah. Well, I'm
When we
not in
re-advertise,
improvement of that.
when
I
we
tend to-
re-advertise at the next meeting
Yeah,
and bring in the special permit, then that clock ticks. We should have, because we're gonna open up
Right.
a dual hearing on the site plan approval hearing, which I'm going to move that we continue to the next meeting.
Well, there's a motion on the floor right now already.
I understand
We can
that,
go
but
for
I'm
that.
just,
I
this is
understand.
just,
I understand.
but I expect to make that motion. And
But
that
the-
will
the
be
reason-
joined up with the special permit,
right.
which is not on the floor right now.
No, it isn't, but the site approval is based on the requirement in 83 that a special permit be awarded, and then you have to have a site approval. It's a similar hearing because the special permit is for 2 buildings. Now, I'd like to know how is he going to address the site without addressing the 2 buildings? It's too intertwined.
Again, I
why-
just wish to reiterate that I believe the best thing to do at this venue is to continue this hearing until such time as we can advertise and open the special permit and bifurcate.
I'm
My
gonna-
call, last time you're gonna hear it from
I'm
me.
gonna get fussy. I move the question.
Moving the question on the floor, which is the M account, establishing an M account. Is everyone clear on the question? We're voting on whether to establish an M account or not. All in favor?
But weren't you also, the reason for this M account was because you were going to send it to Larry Graham right off?
The site plan.
This is establishment of an M account only. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Motion carries. 4 to
Send you
0.
the Escrow account
Unanimous.
information in the mail.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Rich.
I would move that the plans be sent to Ms. Larry Graham for review concerning the site plan application, which is presently before us.
Motion by Chris to send the plans to Larry Graham. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Bob seconds. Any discussion? Seems almost positively ministerial. It does. And we're not taking information. We're sending information out. I don't see a problem here. All in-
As long as it's the same information that we got in the application. But how do you know what he's sending? I mean,
Well,
is he
we
gonna
can only
send-
send
It's
what
the
we
same- it's the
received.
same information that the
We
planning board
only
and
send
planning
what we
office
receive.
received.
Yeah. Remember, we received the information about a site plan approval and a special permit application. The problem is that the planning office just
If
made an
the
error.
plans are the same,
Okay.
then
Yep, exactly,
send
exactly.
out the plans that came with the application.
That's all
Mr.
we
Chairman,
have.
Do you send plans that you already have, or do we have to provide you additional plans for?
No, this, when you,
So that's accounted for in this, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman. Perfect. Great.
Yep, this is not as bad as you think it is. The motion on the floor is to send the plans for review. Yeah, I know, it's just, send the plans to review to Larry Graham for review. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously, 4 to 0.
Mr. Ford, so you know, we don't hold things up.
No, it's
Yeah.
it's the right thing.
We made a mistake.
I'm disappointed, but it is the right
I'm,
thing.
Now you
I
have to close the
apologize.
hearing.
We made a mistake.
Continue.
As expeditiously as the hearing can start legally, it will happen.
You know, I was copied on the notices and I read them. I didn't pick it up. It's a very fine point. There's no problem with the
Well,
mistake.
some damn lawyer, oh, I'm a lawyer. Well,
Okay,
you know,
well,
could pick it up, and the last thing you need is for someone to appeal it on
A very valid ground that there
a
was no
very
notice made.
valid technical issue. And it really doesn't look good upon us if we give someone an avenue
I don't like giving avenues.
on a technical issue.
Worst thing is, even if their appeal fails, it'll take a year or two to fail, and you can't do anything until then.
well, at least let me give you a little teaser. It's a good project. It will blend in.
I don't want any information,
You'll
thank
like
you. We're not taking any
It's
information.
a
Motion to
good
continue to,
project.
what is the date, Howard? What did we say? That was
14?
8/14?
Motion, I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Chris to move to continue the hearing to 8/14/13 at,
The 14th, the second Wednesday of the month.
at 7 PM.
Again, apologies, Tom.
All in favor? Was there a second for that? Bob, did you
Yes.
second that? Bob seconds. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry again.
Our apologies.
I would like to, also, when I read that,
Oh.
when we were on the phone,
return that to
I was reading the packet,
Thank you, Howard.
and, the building inspector mentions, another,
Tilly, what are we discussing here? That hearing just got continued.
right,
So we're discussing a special permit for 186 East
no,
Main Street.
I'm discussing the application
Okay. go
letter
ahead.
here. The last paragraph,
Tread lightly.
I think that there
The
was
hearing's
some
been
kind
open
of
now.
some kind of a zoning or something was done on this property. And I was wondering if you checked with Patty, if there was any previous applications for a permit from their zoning board of appeals on this piece,
The,
the last paragraph there.
Any previous special permits that may or may not have been issued for that parcel
Where is that T4?
could certainly come out at the hearing.
I haven't been
And
able
at
to
the
coordinate with
continuation.
Patty. She's been out for a week.
Oh,
And I'm sure Howard will take care of all of that
Right,
and have that
and
information for us.
I
Well,
want
that's
to,
fine.
I want to get she was copied on the application just like all the other town departments. I haven't heard back any concerns
Yeah.
from her yet
yeah,
about it, so.
right. It wouldn't be in this gentleman's name, it would be in.
The previous property owner's name, yeah.
Yeah, it was, well, anyway.
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
I recall it myself, but this isn't the appropriate, we
No,
shouldn't be discussing
but
it.
I think that to do the research before we open the meeting, you know, is a good thing. That helps things move.
No, it's just making room.
Right, but the.
And it also gives you a
Absolutely.
clue of what direction.
Right, but that information's most appropriately delivered in the hearing. And that hearing, we opened without
We
taking
can
any
repeat
information,
that at the
right?
hearing once we have the
Absolutely,
information.
absolutely, then we'll delve into that, and I
Yeah.
agree that we should look into that, and it's part and parcel to it, I agree. Yeah, but just to hold the integrity of the hearing. Special permit,
Forgot something.
Howard, moving on, continuation of special permit. For- It happens, huh? 186 East Main Street. I'd like to
Yeah.
open the continuation of that hearing.
At the last meeting, when was it? on June 10th,
Mhm.
uh, Park and Rec, the applicant, the earlier week had provided an updated set of drawings, which we mailed on to the technical review engineer. He did not proceed with a subsequent review of those drawings because he was waiting for an outstanding invoice to be paid. And the process being that it comes to the planning board, we pass it on to Park and Rec, they pass it on to the CPC. Long story short, he received payment and he's begun the review, but he doesn't have the review complete for consideration at tonight's meeting.
Do we have an M account for Park and Rec?
No.
Why not?
Because you would be taking money out of one town account to put it into an M account, only to turn around and pay vendors.
So,
The engineering fees, it was decided at the first public
it's
hearing.
gonna hold up the project. It just did.
I don't know why Larry was waiting.
Yeah, but, look, Larry's a businessman.
That's right.
Why don't we have an M account for them?
We didn't set it up that way when we started.
I think we should.
Comes out of, comes straight
I
out.
think CPC, if it's CPC money, they should fund an M account.
Well, they could do that. If you want to delay the process, you can bring that up at a meeting, or ask the Park and Rec to do it, or wait until the next continuation of the meeting to do that, and
Did we
vote on it.
Did we vote on it to not have them charge?
I think at the
We
first
did,
meeting,
yeah,
you all
we-
agreed, I don't know about if you made vote, but you all agreed that the process would come to the planning office and we'd go to give it to Park and Rec and then give it to CPC.
Okay,
I
I
think
mean,
we
we're
had it
doing, I think it's even if we did, it just proved itself to be bad. Look, I'm tired of hearing from people that we hold up projects. Okay, I'm not yelling at you, I'm just
Yeah.
saying it. I'm tired of hearing from people that we hold up projects. Okay? We're not holding this project up. The system is holding the project up. And we see a flaw in the system, we should correct it immediately. And that's a flaw. I mean, think about it. If we had the money, only one board has to make a decision. If CPC's holding the money, then it comes to us, goes to Park and Rec, then it goes to CPC, comes back. I mean, it's got so many miles on it right now, you know, and you, how long does it take for all those decisions to be made? And for those meetings to be scheduled and had?
Right.
Well, last week he received the payment and he started to proceed with the review. It just wasn't ready for tonight's meeting.
Well, let
I-
the record please show, I'm sorry,
That's
Howard,
okay.
excuse me, Wendy, please let the record show that Tim Howard arrives at 7:45. We're in the Park and Rec, 186 East Main Street hearing right now.
I didn't even see that on the list.
It's a new list.
It's a new
We
agenda.
got a new list.
So, I received an email from the applicant's engineer, and he said without seeing any comments, it would be difficult for him to address them at just looking for first time tonight.
This is Park and Rec's engineer, not Larry Brown,
Right.
Okay.
Sorry. Please continue the hearing until the next meeting, and at that time, I would like to review the comments and have a clear understanding of what changes are needed to finalize the process. So
Basically wants to continue, he's asking for a continuance.
you're right, which would be
What would
to
be
the
a good date?
24th.
The 24th? The 24th of July, that's our next meeting anyway.
Right.
I'll hear a motion.
So moved.
Motion to continue the hearing until 7/24/13.
Second.
Motion was made by Chris, seconded by Bob. Any discussion? All in-
Yes, hold
oh,
hold
okay.
a second, I'm just thinking about this. Can you clear it up for me? I'm trying to get it straight. The Park and Rec application for the field came in a month ago, 2 months ago? and we didn't have the money to pay Larry Green
No,
until last week?
No, just to clarify, sure, I'll go, okay. At the last meeting, which was June 10th, the Park and Rec was in here, because that was the date their public hearing was continued to. The previous week, the planning office had received the updated drawings, which were then forwarded to Larry Graham.
Okay.
So Larry Graham didn't have 4 days to review the drawings, and the applicant was in here
Okay.
to talk about that. So basically, it's been 4 weeks since the time the planning office received the drawings. It takes a few days to process and for Larry Graham to receive in the mail. And during that time, a bill came in that he had sent out for his review services. We passed it on to Park and Rec. They passed it on to the CPC. And at the end of last week, Larry Graham's office received payment for that invoice. So during the 4 weeks, the drawing was forwarded on. His invoice was received and forwarded on and paid. And at the beginning of this week, he started the review of the drawings. So-
That has not been the process as I understood it. He would send us an invoice after he did the review.
Right, well, this is the second review.
So
He hasn't
this
been
is the
paid for the
old
first
review.
review. Yeah.
This was
Okay.
the
All right.
initial review.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for clearing
All
that
right.
up.
We have a motion on the floor, go ahead.
Yeah,
More discussion about it, okay.
no,
No.
no more discussion.
Oh, you're calling it? Okay, you're calling it, okay. Any more discussion about continuing the hearing until, excuse me, July 24th, 2013 at 7 PM? Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman.
Unanimous, 5-0. Unanimous.
Mr.
Hearing is continued. Yes, go for it.
I would like.
Is this under any concern of a planning board member or a member of the
That's
public?
What we just discussed.
Okay, this in
I
relation.
would like the town planner to notify Park and Rec that we would like to discuss the establishment of an M account to avoid any further delay. Not that we're gonna stop doing things, but any further delay, like we just saw, because, so to establish an M account so invoices can be expeditiously paid and not have to go through 3 committees
I
for
understand.
approval.
Is this something that we would want to discuss at the next?
Yeah, absolutely.
On
Yeah,
the
put
24th?
on the agenda
At our
for
next
that, for
meeting?
that meeting.
On our next
please.
meeting?
But to
I don't think that's unreasonable.
notify them that we're going to, if they would
Right.
like to have somebody here that can speak to the issue. So we don't do it by surprise.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Bear in mind that, I believe they meet the same time that we meet, so.
Is there anyone from CPC we should notify?
No, they'd have to hear about it from, the Park and Rec.
Well, you
Aren't
are
on
our,
the CPC? Aren't you
You
on
are
the-
a rep.
Yes, I understand.
Are you
I
still the
get it.
chairman of the CPC?
Yes, the question is, will there be an August meeting? We may not have a quorum. The quorum requirement has been raised by town meeting, and to my knowledge, there have been no appointments made for the 2 new seats. But in August, we will be required to have that quorum requirement.
Okay.
But to my knowledge, the FinCom hasn't appointed anybody. I don't see how they could. I haven't seen a FinCom meeting posted, so. And to my knowledge, the Board of Selectmen hasn't
Yeah,
appointed.
they need to make a joint appointment to the personnel board too.
I can't speak to that.
No,
I'll take your word for it.
okay. Trust me.
A lot of appointments. So, as soon as those happen, but, they're not exactly wrapped around the block, banging on the door to volunteer, but,
Well, if they start giving stipends out, like I was watching the selectmen's meeting, where if you get paid by the town, you are eligible for health insurance benefits of the towns. I think that would be a big incentive for some people to
Might
sign
get a lot of
up.
people to jump in. Might work.
Well, isn't there a movement to do away with volunteer boards anyway?
Where? I don't know, where?
Georgetown.
In
I read
Georgetown?
about it, yeah.
Yeah?
That-
You read about it?
Yeah, that it would be,
What do they,
it would be appointed by selectmen, all the planning board, we wouldn't be voted anymore.
so they're gonna make us a city?
I didn't see that.
I guess, yeah, I read it 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
In what paper?
Well, I read the record in
Oh.
the Daily Newburyport Daily Times.
Gee, that's scary, isn't it?
I didn't. I
It
didn't
started
get the
about
record.
8 months ago, maybe, and then every 3 months you see another article about it.
Interesting.
Oh.
It's funny, you wouldn't know about it, you know everything.
Might have been a report that was sent to us by the Department of Revenue.
No, no, it's initiated right here.
Under a recommendation of the Mass Department of Revenue.
Yeah, the Department of Revenue is presuming to tell us how we can better run our government.
Right, but there was interest amongst the selectmen to adopt that.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't there be?
Yeah, make them a little more powerful.
Well-
That would make our town administrator a town dictator.
Dictator.
Town manager. Yeah. Well, see what the town thinks. At any rate, any concern of a planning board member or member of the public? Well, the public is
Obviously
underrepresented
not
tonight.
concerned.
It's a hot night in July. We have 2 M account releases.
Right.
Howard, can you fill us in on those, please?
The first one for discussion is Parish Road, map 20, parcel number 1, M account 26481. This was an escrow account that was set up when the board established a preliminary subdivision application, which was approved. But we don't have any record of a definitive plan being filed, and we believe that the permit period for filing that
What was it, a
definitive plan.
preliminary, Howard? Or
The preliminary was approved.
The preliminary was approved, but 7 months went by and there was no
We
definitive.
we don't have a record of a definitive plan either being submitted or approved.
Yeah,
or
I
reviewed.
remember it. What happened was, it went from preliminary to Concom, and Concom didn't allow a crossing, and then there was extensive litigation.
And
And,
Concom called that little drainage ditch along the street,
They wouldn't allow a crossing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it was denied by them or something like that, and then,
Right, they couldn't get frontage without having that.
litigation, yeah.
Isn't that special?
Well, they couldn't use the backland. They had the frontage, but they couldn't use the backland.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, do you wanna do them together? There are two accounts to release.
The second is for 83 Ballpate Road. This one is 26475. There was a definitive subdivision plan that was denied by the planning board that went into litigation. And that case was later dismissed by the plaintiff, and we have record of a stipulation of dismissal. So.
Yep.
26475 is an amount of approximately $1,544.49. We believe that's what the balance will be at the end of July.
Where is that?
Which one is that, Howard?
26475, 83
26475, the 83 Ballpate, what was the total on it?
Ballpate. We request the treasurer's office to give us end of month, end of July.
Okay.
We believe it's gonna be $1,544.49.
Okay, and 49 cents? And what was the Parish Road one? What was the total of that one?
26481, the balance we anticipate to be $828.69.
828 and 69. Maybe the best thing that we can do at this point, since it's subject to a possible 3 or 4 cents off because of interest, can I have a motion to release both accounts? Or
For
singly?
discussion purposes, so moved.
Okay, I think Tim already beat you to it.
Second.
Tim makes that motion. Chris seconds. Discussion?
the account history detail. Not that it was.
Which one were you referring to, Chris? You're talking about
I'm looking
the,
at the first page that I
parish?
come across. It says Parish
that's
Road.
the Parish Road one? Yep, go for it. Shows absolutely no activity after two
Oh,
thousand
but
and eight,
they're all
right?
minus numbers.
Hmm?
Well, I don't know. I only have 1 degree in business, but when there's minus numbers on a ledger card, that means the account is in the negative.
No,
it's odd.
It starts with an amount.
It's odd. That's certainly odd.
Yeah, that's the way the muni starts at 2,000. Everything's a subtraction after that. But
Well, it started at minus 2,000.
yeah,
It's just, I mean, it's
And then it goes
an
up to
expression of
zero.
a debit as opposed to a credit. I mean, it depends on what
But a
account it is.
deposit is a credit, it's not a debit.
That's right.
the debit shown as a positive and a credit
It's a
shown as a
debit,
negative.
debit to somebody and a credit to somebody else. Right? So it depends on
But
how, it's-
that's not what it's saying.
Well,
what's your point? It makes you uncomfortable?
This is
so
We're missing a page.
the net
anyway.
that's here is not 828.34 in the negative. It's an actual
It's in the
800.
reverse because the girl will
$28.
key punch it into the revenue account, free cash or wherever she's putting it.
Into
So
an
that's
account.
why it's reversed here.
It's
in an
consistent with
escrow
the other one
account.
as well.
It can't be in free cash, it can't be in any
It has to
other.
be
I-
kept in
that's
its
right.
own account.
But that's how, that's what I think it is. It's in the
We've
reverse.
we've had this discussion with the treasurer's office
If you
too.
notice at the bottom,
So,
it's the
it's-
very bottom, Chris. Debits
And
are a
not to make-
positive
not to
number,
make light
credits
of
are a
it,
negative
but-
number.
You know,
All
So you-
debits everywhere in the world in accounting are positive numbers, all
That's right.
credits everywhere in the world are negative numbers.
Mhm.
right.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know what to say. Bottom line is,
I'll ask Mary to explain.
it's
it.
828.34.
Yeah, you should probably,
Well, it's actually
All right.
828.69.
828.
Sorry.
See? 35 cents.
Parish Road, it's $9,920 here,
Okay,
I'm sorry?
credits.
Net is what you want to look at, right?
Oh, okay, here.
Yeah,
I
and
got
that-
$824.
And any questions or comments about Ballpate Road?
how much is that?
$1,544.49.
And that's shown as a negative too.
Is that,
But it's actually a positive. Welcome to Munis.
They're all positive numbers on the left.
1,000?
I wonder if that's why they don't get anybody on the finance board.
That's why they all jump off it, I can tell you that much. First opportunity they get, they bail. At any rate,
Is that the 1543.52?
86 I'm seeing.
Walker
15,
Development?
43, 86.
Well, I'm
What I'm
looking
seeing
at
here.
I got 52 here.
I'm looking at Walker
Oh,
Development.
right, I'm looking at
LLC.
the, you're looking at the
Well,
sheet, yeah.
just to help prevent the confusion,
Because there's gonna
the
be an
muni
interest.
report we get, and then it goes out on Thursday, and that's the best of our knowledge. And then it's intentionally done up to the last minute with the treasurer's office, so when it's presented at tonight's meeting, it's as accurate as can be.
That's why we're like 35 cents off.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Allow for
I mean,
interest.
that 35 cents doesn't bother me. I just want to make sure that everything, what did you say, these people came in for a who?
For Ballpate,
Ballpate
Is that the
came,
project that came
Ballpate
in?
was, yeah, it was gonna be the,
OSRD?
But then.
yeah, it was gonna be OSRD, and
Up
we
on the
denied
hill?
it. Yeah, we denied it because of the way that it was all chopped
But
up.
then he filed an A&R for one lot, like the end of the year. After the
that.
case?
After the case.
I
yeah.
wonder if there was any transfers that should have transpired.
no, there was, from our research, there's 3 or 4 different applications the Faragis have done with Baldpate.
No,
This
this
wasn't
wasn't them.
Faraji.
Not Faraji and all the other people, but for Baldpate,
Yeah.
for the OSRD, for the ANR, and
Yeah, this was.
we researched this, and this is just for the, it wasn't established during the OSRD, that's been released, this was established for, because as I understand it, they came back after their denial of the OSRD and filed a preliminary
Preliminary,
as a whole separate application.
okay.
We're talking.
With a separate
to be
amicus.
Clear, it's Baldpate Hospital that you're talking about here, right? You're not talking about Faraji.
No, not
No,
Faraji.
no.
This is the area
Baldpate
all around
Hospital
Baldpate,
property.
and all around, all the way down Baldpate.
Well, Baldpate Hospital, after that case, they filed for an A&R,
Mhm.
remember?
That,
And then they withdrew
And
without
then-
prejudice, and we returned that money, I think.
If it was an
Recent-
ANR, there wouldn't have even have been an M account.
You would need an application then, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that was,
this was a denial that we issued.
that's what I was wondering, if they
Yeah.
ever got the application fee, or they just
They didn't have
transferred
adequate
it
frontage.
over.
They were trying to split it into 4 lots,
Yeah.
each with their own little OSRD.
Butel,
Able.
that's her name, Butel.
Yeah, you got it. But that's long gone now.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, there's a motion on the floor to release both accounts, both M accounts, was made by Tim, seconded by Chris. Any discussion? Going once, going twice, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Did I hear an aye, Bob?
Aye, aye, aye.
Okay, motion carries 5-0, unanimous. Great, releasing of those. Howard, medical marijuana meets zoning, little packet that you sent out for us.
Yeah, I
Very
had sent
interesting.
it out
Very interesting.
as a PDF, but it was lengthy, and so I included in the packet a hard copy of some research of different studies that have been done from different perspectives about medical marijuana and
Different communities, different states,
right,
how they all vary.
urban, rural,
environments.
how they're all handling the different aspects of medical marijuana
Very
and
interesting.
versus against crime versus bylaws and everything else. So I find it to be informative. I met up with the town planner in Newbury, and there was a question posed informally at the last planning board meeting when this was being discussed about the growing facility is going to be in Georgetown. Where's the dispensary going to be? And right now, there's thought that the dispensary being in Georgetown, that the sales, if you will, is going to be over in Newbury off of 95, right at the Byfield exit.
Dispensary
The owner.
would be the sales, right?
The owner declined of that property,
The owner declined, so
so it's dead.
it's done.
Yeah.
Don't know where it's going to be then.
No.
But just with that, it's interesting that it's, you'll see in some of the research, there's ideas about crime and it being so close to the highway, it's easy to get to for both people going to purchase and anybody that may be of a criminal mindset, so.
Nowadays, alarm systems and cameras, it's not that easy to break into a facility like that.
no.
And what are you gonna get? Couple grand's worth of marijuana?
I saw on
what's that? Is it worth
television
going to
that
jail for?
they've had such good success with children being medicated this way for many things, but the
Smoke a blunt?
FDA has not approved it.
Well, but what they've discovered is if they harvest the marijuana like 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through its normal growth cycle, it doesn't have the like hallucinogenic and
The THC.
the other side effects, but it still works really well to give relief from
The pain
diseases.
aspect, the
Yeah,
pain
the
management.
pain, yeah.
Yeah,
It works equally well without the buzz.
that's what they were saying about the children, the epileptic fits that children would have, that it's been a godsend for these.
I forwarded on to the planning board today an email that I had sent on to the town administrator just for the purpose of informing the selectmen of the planning office and the planning board's activities with considering bylaws for the special town meeting. So they've been informed.
They know about the solar and the wind and the medical marijuana.
Right, and they're aware of the schedule too, so.
Right. So they can participate.
Some of that information, I thought was interesting, about some communities have it, or states have it as a license, and others have it as a permit. And I thought that was extremely interesting, and if it was a license, I was thinking that would be a selectman doing that, you know? Rather than, but, I didn't compare it to what the state has allowed us to do.
Right.
You know, so did we ever get that from the state? I think we did.
The
didn't we?
state doesn't have a bylaw. The state just has the regulations and the guidelines and the rules
But
and
what are
things.
they calling it? Are they calling it a permit or are they calling it a license?
It was 76 pages, and I don't recall all the content of it, but I don't recall
Yeah.
them
Why?
talking about the facilities. Just more about how it's going to be overseen in terms of licensing the people to operate, as opposed to how the local municipality is going to approve the operation. So,
Yeah, it's a pretty expensive endeavor to get into.
Oh, yeah, you need $500,000
Yeah.
up front.
And then you need 50,000 every
Then you
year.
have- Yeah, to pay as a like a
and
license.
I've heard there's some discussion about, is the $500,000 bond, does that need to be set up like an escrow account, or do you just need to, like you bond somebody out of jail, do you need to put up assets to show that you can pay the bond if
You
called?
can buy a
So
bond.
Interesting.
what's that?
That's interesting.
You can buy a bond like an insurance policy.
But that's on the state level.
Right.
That's on the state level. We'd want to think about fees
Right.
from a
Right.
local level.
That's right.
And
If the
Might
fees
wanna
would need
hear
to be
from-
renewed every year, just the same way as a state license and
perhaps,
things like that.
perhaps, and we might also want to talk to the assessor to find out if the product being grown is taxable to Georgetown. Lots of interesting questions that we'll hear about, I'm sure. Lots of interesting questions.
Did you get in touch with K&P about what bylaw they have worked with?
I did, and I spoke briefly with her, and I forwarded on the example that was from Hill, and she said she knew about it, and it was a good first effort, but it was written before
Yeah.
the final regulations were approved, so it needs some work, but she's ready to be starting to be engaged when we start doing our draft.
Great.
So she's on notice.
Great.
Um,
Her letter said that she'd be very helpful, and the person you're talking about, Kay, was the one that ran the seminar at the Holy Cross, when we went to Holy Cross. She was the one that actually ran the seminar for medical marijuana,
right.
so,
Lots of experience.
yeah, she's up on it. I don't think we have too many worries about it. She's up on it.
In the solar now, you had, you were going to meet with the new manager?
I've spoken with David Schofield, and just given him notice. Obviously, last week he was busy with some different things, but next week he and I plan on getting together. He'll have a draft bylaw. When I issue it to the planning board, he's going to get a copy on the solar and wind, and I put him on notice to attend the meeting on the 24th.
For the solar
For the solar and wind to present to the board. We're gonna get together and
Excellent.
see if there's any information he wants on the big board to be able to present.
Fantastic.
And it's been, I spoke with, as I was speaking to the planner in Newbury, I also told her we're considering solar and wind as well. And they've handled it in a way that I hadn't even considered. They do, as of right, under an acre. They do 1 to, I think, 5 acres as by site plan approval, and then anything over 5 as special permit, which was a direction I hadn't even thought of. So
This is Newbury.
this is in Newbury. So I'm gonna take a look at theirs and present it and
Yeah,
see if we
a
want to.
farmer there wanted to put a solar farm out in that swamp next to the
On Scotland Road.
And the selectmen somehow had the power to veto it.
Yeah. They vetoed it because they considered it to be a intrusion upon a visual corridor and a visual asset to the town, and even though it was, yeah, it was very loosely,
They're appealing that decision, and obviously they'll win
yeah.
the appeal, that's.
They didn't deny it based upon proven
Right.
reasons for denial.
Right, that was pretty hokey.
Yeah.
A Vista View, because it destroyed a Vista.
Because you get
View.
off the highway and there's the farm with the cows and Colby Farm and
It's
the
probably a
Greenbelt property.
historical site or something. that
It
they're
it's,
pulling in.
dates back to when it was first founded, so it's all part of the
Historical
Great
Vista.
Marsh.
Yeah, but it's the farmer's land. He could just sell it and have, put an industrial park out there or something, you know?
Yeah, there's, as I understand it, there isn't any conservation
No
protection
chapter
or
60
restriction,
Oh,
no,
nothing on it.
nothing.
You know, if they continue to, you know, stonewall him and putting that in, he's just gonna start thinking about other options.
Is he gonna resell the
It'll be worse
electricity,
than,
or is he using it for the farm?
Now, as I understand it, it was gonna be an energy generation facility to be sold onto the grid.
Have you had a chance to, well, we'll discuss that at another time. Tilly, you wanted to talk about the reviews
Oh, the
for
part-
Howard?
Yeah, you
and-
sent us the draft of the personal, where did that come from, that review?
Just for context,
Evaluation review.
the evaluation, the last meeting we discussed
You
Howard's
sent us a draft.
evaluation, and,
It was just a template for you to consider,
yeah.
and that came from the town administrator's office.
Oh.
As I understand, there isn't a set standard
No,
form
There's
for.
no process.
Well, the
Yeah, there is a
process, but-
process.
There
There
is?
absolutely is a process.
The process, just,
And the town administrator, who is also the personnel director, has the form. The personnel board that was in existence at the time
Yeah.
reviewed the form, and all department managers are supposed to be
Well, it's-
sending them in on an annual basis.
Well, you know what,
And one of the problems is when you have somebody that wears 27,000 hats,
no.
lots of things get slipped through the cracks, and Michael Farrell can't expect him, with everything that he's doing, to have a priority of personnel reviews. Is it important? I think it's extremely important.
It is important, and it's, my familiarity is myself with evaluations, so. So what I found different with the draft was that you didn't have a point system. I've been mostly familiar with a numbering system 1 to 5, which I found on the computer to help explain it. And the 1 would be the least,
Needs improvement up
Poor-
to
poor
exceeds.
performance.
yeah, and it's
expectation.
broken down
5 would be
there, and
excellent.
5 would be exceptional.
Mhm.
And the 3 would be average, you know, meeting expectations. And,
Do you have a copy of his form, Andy?
no.
you know, I've seen that.
Because I don't
and-
remember it in detail.
I
know we
I
did
looked
look
at
at
it,
It is-
and essentially what it is it's all text-based. There's, basically, it asks about certain areas of performance, and you need to fill out verbally your review of it. And essentially, what I see is, how do we make this work for our board? I mean, it's simple enough from your perspective, Howard, because according to the personnel manual, Howard as department head takes care of Wendy's performance review.
Right.
You can do that. That's
There's
that's
one
fine.
review to discuss as opposed to 5.
Right.
So you're looking at a way to
We,
bring it all together.
what isn't addressed is a board such as ours that oversees Howard. I think from reading it, the spirit of it essentially is that
Well, if you.
I have a
if you
copy
look-
of it
if you
that
look
I
at-
could read.
you have it on you right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
If you look at the rule,
Mhm.
in the personnel handbook.
Okay.
It says that person's supervisor, the employee's supervisor, writes the review.
Yeah, that's, department head is the way I
The
think
department
they
head is the term.
explain
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
Yeah.
that can also be interpreted as a supervisor if you get to
Sure.
a board or commission.
Sure, but who would be,
We are.
we, as the board, are Howard's
Correct.
supervisor.
Correct.
Right now, what I'm looking for is some consensus on how we do this as a group.
Publish it in the newspaper, ask people for comments.
It seems to me that, yeah.
I was
sorry, Bob?
just gonna comment, I did a bunch of performance evaluations when I was at Keene, and one of the things that we did, and this is a huge universe of different approaches. Having a numerical metric is one. It's one where you can compare individuals. But one of the things that we always did was we asked the reviewee to fill out the form himself. For one thing, to see, what does he think of the job he's done? And are there deltas between the individual's self-evaluation and in this case, it would be the consensus among us all? I think that would be helpful, especially in doing things like establishing goals,
right.
performance
And
goals.
that's basically the only good thing I think about the whole process. If we establish a process, which evidently we're gonna have to do because they don't have, per
How was this
se,
done before I came on board?
Never.
Probably never. I haven't had a performance review in
You haven't
12 years,
reviewed the
and yet I
town planner
live.
and
Well, one of the issues is basically.
The whole
um,
town is like this, everybody in the town.
The whole thing was, it really doesn't matter because it's never really related to your raises anyway. You just don't get any. You don't get any
But
raises
that
anyway.
isn't the
So
only
it's-
reason.
It was
for
something that I
kind of-
believe just sort of fell to the wayside. The other thing is, how does this board that has open meeting law requirements review Howard outside of a meeting?
I think we should ask KMP.
We did.
I think the real problem here is that you have private concerns, privacy concerns, and I think what happens here is that personnel privacy concerns conflict with open meeting law in this.
And I think,
That's why we have town council.
But I think it's up to Howard if he wants to be evaluated. And
No, it isn't. It's,
Well, he doesn't get a vote about being evaluated.
No,
Did
I
you-
mean,
It-
but
it-
if you want
He
it,
can,
if you want
he
it
can
in
request
secret or
executive
in-
session.
I was
believe he cannot
wondering
do
about that.
I believe that there was something from KMP
there was something.
that came out that said you cannot do executive
Yeah.
session.
I didn't bring the email, but we did get it.
I don't see how you can do a public performance review.
I don't either.
I think that's
Well, what
I think what
wrong.
you have to do is deal with it as a ministerial matter. I'm the chair, and I'm not saying that because I'm the chair, I'm saying it because this is the way to avoid any conflict with open meeting law and avoid any personnel conflicts.
And I
personal
disagree with
privacy.
that, and
I
KMP
think
did
that-
too.
Well,
be
you
really-
don't do it in executive session.
No,
That was the only
because
thing I
we're,
saw
the way
KMP
the
doing it.
sentence was, and I wish I had brought it.
I wish I had too, since we mentioned it, it
Yeah.
has to be attached to the minutes now.
It has to be attached to the minutes, and I'll bring it in.
Send
The
it to
way
Wendy.
it was generated was Mike Farrell did it, and they answered right away. And the attorney said that any open meeting committee board has to have evaluations in open meeting. That's the requirement.
No,
It's-
it was in the negative. These cannot be conducted in executive session.
All right, something like that.
That
But
was the answer.
executive session is a specific,
Yeah.
bordered, event,
Right,
right, for
which
specific
has
reasons.
specific reasons.
But-
Is
but-
there another, you said ministerial, is
I say
there,
look at it as a ministerial thing that has to be done.
But I can't see that.
Howard reviews Wendy.
what are the?
That's
ru-
done in an office with a simple meeting.
Right,
He fills out the review, he sends that review to the town administrator.
Because-
That town administrator sends the review to Wendy.
Because
is it-
Howard is not required to meet the open meeting law by himself.
Is that a public document?
Yes.
No. Of course it is.
Personnel
Yes, it is.
Personnel records are not public documents.
No,
This-
but
this
it's,
is a
it's a
personnel
document
record.
that has to be
course it is.
We're,
recorded.
we're in the process.
This is why you're banging two laws
Exactly. We're-
against each other.
I would say
This is
that,
why it never happens.
I would say that it trumps the open meeting law. It's got to.
No, it
I would
doesn't.
say
It
that
has to.
the personal privacy has to be considered. And
Every-
if there is a way that we can do this in a ministerial fashion, then it doesn't have to be done in an open session.
When we asked KNP before, did we specifically ask them to give us advice on how to do it?
No.
Can we do that? Can we
The
ask
question
them?
that was asked was, can these be done, conducted in executive session?
Right.
So that we could do it as a board.
I mean,
The
we're,
answer is
we're,
no.
The
but
answer
that's,
was no.
You said
that
no.
doesn't give us that's
It
a,
doesn't give us any guidance at all.
it does,
It
it
just removes what you can't do.
exactly, it
limits
didn't
us.
give us a solution.
Well-
And we're looking for a solution here.
Question was asked, a question was
R-
answered.
Right, right.
But I think the solution
But I mean,
is
can we
by
ask
numbered-
them again, but ask them,
Perhaps.
how do we do this?
Perhaps that's what we should come up to right now. Or in lieu of that, maybe we could ask the town administrator, who's the HR director, my understanding, for the town, ask him how that should be done now. And
I
if
think
he
we
doesn't
should
have
ask
an
him
answer,
What his opinion is on how it should be done.
and if he doesn't
I
have an
think-
answer to
But
that,
that's, I like your approach, because I really would not, I would not be very comfortable
Well,
in
the
having
way
a
to make
public
it-
flogging, review
Right.
of anybody. I
No.
think that's,
But
That's
the
not a
way you
public
can
document.
make it public, if that's a requirement, and so far, that's what we're going on.
Well,
The thing is, let me finish, please. The thing is that if we go through a numbering session, we each would do that numbering thing, okay? And we give it to Harry, and then Harry would compile. There were 5 3s and 5 4s.
I could do something like that.
And that could be presented in an open meeting without infringing on anybody's.
Oh, I don't think it would even have to be presented in an open meeting.
It has to, everything
I
we
would
do.
forward that to the town administrator as the
No.
HR director, as is required in the handbook, and he would route to Howard.
No.
but he doesn't
If
run,
Howard had
he
any-
doesn't, I can be reviewed because I was elected to this position, as were all of us. And,
You are reviewed by the voters.
exactly.
That's right, the
He's
voters do
not.
it.
Yeah.
He's not.
an employee.
If he's an
He
employee,
has privacy rights.
that man, I'm sorry, I don't mean to point at you, I don't
No,
mean
I
to
don't wanna
point
hurt your feelings,
But,
No, you
but
can't.
he's a public employee and you waive certain
Everything is-
privacy rights when you become a public employee.
No, this
I
is
think
a
the way
very
we
deep
could,
question.
and then let me finish. The way we could do it is the numbering thing, and the other option would be, you could do it during the daytime, where it wouldn't be out, so.
I was just,
Exposed.
if we had a meeting on the second floor,
If we had a meeting on the second floor, we would have to
Yeah.
have minutes. And all of those minutes would be public documents.
You have to have
absolutely, the
minutes.
minutes are public document,
Then we have to abide
Yeah.
by that.
and
And how does that,
the minutes concerning
And
his
anybody
review,
can come and sit in the meeting.
you know how
But,
insane
but
this is?
only the result, it's
Yeah,
right,
it is
anybody
insane.
can.
What-
Only
what is-
the result of
Conservation
that
Commission
meeting will be,
They've got paid,
the product will be the review.
Just do what they do.
And once it goes in to your personnel file,
It's a school girl.
it's confidential.
Department.
yeah.
That's right.
which
The
I believe.
discussion about it,
Yeah.
the discussion about it is public. The end result becomes confidential once it's submitted.
Yeah.
Which I believe is why the solution would be for you each to individually send your review of Howard to me. I, as the chair, outside of public session, ministerially would compile them and send the result to the town administrator
Maybe we should
for entry into the file.
I would object
And
to
you can
that.
disagree with it,
I
and that's why we're
disagree
having
with
this
That's how it's been
discussion.
done when I got reviewed by the trust.
But that's because that's them. They're mainly on the trust. But the thing is that we're an elected board. Mike, I would send it to after we get all finished.
By
you
the
know?
by, you do know that the town administrator's review is supposed to be in public,
Yeah.
in a public session.
I have no
Right.
control of the Board of Selectmen.
But let me-
I'm only
let me-
concerned, I have my hands full holding you guys
guys
together.
keep
I'm just telling you
interrupting
that there's an elected board, that when they do the review of their employee, if you will, it's done in open session.
Duly noted.
Is that,
I
but
think
he's a contract
I wanted to
employee.
say
we hear what
that
Tilly
when
wants?
Beg your
this,
pardon, it's
Can
contract
we hear what Tilly wanted to
negotiations.
say, please?
when it's
We're in
all
open session.
completed,
Can we hear what Tilly wanted to say, please?
We have
I
to.
think that after we do our individual evaluation forms, and we submit it to Harry, all Harry does is compile the data.
Under the personnel-
Then we present it
It's gotta go to
to,
Howard.
then we present it to Howard, he has to be present. And after we're all completed, we submit it to Mike to put in the file.
Time out for one moment. Bob, do you have that section of the personnel handbook policy? Personnel policy handbook?
I have the document that was.
Oh, you have that document?
Distributed. the
Oh, okay.
performance-
Personnel policy, the handbook, that, as I remember it, it's, the review is done, it's reviewed with the employee.
No, the review goes to the employee via the town administrator.
No, it doesn't say that at all.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Why do we have to figure this out? Isn't there somebody who gets paid to figure this out?
Yes.
Unfortunately,
Probably
town of
Chapman.
Georgetown doesn't have a full-time HR person.
It doesn't have
Well,
Mike
that.
Farrell, right?
But
How does
thi-
this sound, kids? How about
Isn't he
we
double as
ask,
that?
how about we ask the town administrator as the HR director for a little bit of guidance on how an elected town board preserves the privacy of the employee and still meets with the open meeting law? Let's ask for a process.
Oh, I like it.
You like
Because I
it?
don't think we should invent it.
So
No.
moved.
Whatever, yeah, second.
So that everybody's consistent.
Okay, hang on a
Good
second.
idea.
Chris
Yeah, that
moves
consistency.
to ask the town administrator about the appropriate process to review Howard. Is that pretty clear? Is that what the motion was?
Yeah.
We good with that? And who made the second? I'm sorry? Tim, you seconded, right? Tim seconds. I don't think we need any discussion. We've been talking about it for a half an hour. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 5-0 unanimously.
I
Howard?
thought you were gonna get out of here in an hour.
Yeah, I kinda did too, but
Mr. Chairman.
it's an hour and a half.
Pretty close.
Because we had to talk about your performance
Mr.
review.
Chairman,
That was the
Get to
reason.
talk it to death.
Yeah, we talked that to
Your
death.
Beat
fault.
that.
Regardless of if it's a stunning and great review, or if it isn't, I don't know where your next raise is gonna come from. Anyway, because there's no
But
money.
that's
Mr.
not the
Chairman.
key,
So, you
is the
know,
raise.
it's
The
a
idea of
relevant thing.
evaluation.
motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Can I just ask, did you guys discuss the Tenny Street, 124 Tenny Street
Yeah, you missed it.
proposal?
It got continued because the notice was defective.
Yeah, motion by Chris
Okay.
to adjourn.
It's defective.
It's like peer review.
Is there a second to adjourn?
I mean,
Bob seconds.
totally.
Yeah, but if you have to move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Motion carries 5-0. It's unanimous, by the way. Meeting is adjourned
Do you have a background?
at, what is, 30? Look at that.